Hello, it's Kane here once again with another post-game multiplayer analysis for you. This was a game which I was Germany. Hot joined hot joined later after the game had already started in late 1937 with a friend of mine, Henry Burkers, also Germany. Against on Italy was a guy called Isidore. On Hungary was La, very good player. On Soviet Union was HCH, terrific player. On UK was Hani. On France was Spice, and on Spain we had Wells, and on USA I forget. So interesting game. I wanted to bring this one to you. So I kind of hot joined onto Germany because the Axis were saying, "Oh, this game's going to hell. Everything's going wrong for us," and it kind of was. They had lost the Spanish Civil War actually. And we had hot joined Wells on afterwards, apparently, because the Spanish player was bad and he quit. So Wells had to take over. Fortunately, the Allies were merciful and let us get someone onto Republican Spain and switch it fascist and play on with the nationalist Spain. So that was nice of them, made the game a bit more balanced. But yeah, I'll give you a quick rundown of basically what happened. Everything was kind of wrong for us on Germany. Everything was kind of late. We didn't have enough manpower at one point for Anschluss or Sudetenland. We made a mistake. When we got the manpower through Anschluss for Sudetenland, I deleted the Austrian divisions to get equipment, and that put us below the manpower, so it cancelled Sudetenland. Yeah, it was a whole few mistakes. Everything was going kind of bad for us, but everything was late, so the war against France was late. Divisions were pretty unequipped. We didn't have as much, but it turned out okay. We got through Poland. Spice, who was on France, went 10 width to try and defend France, but we managed to get the airport in Calais fairly easily. Isidore actually went really hard on planes early, kind of nerfing his late game economy, but putting the early game beyond doubt for us with producing so many fighter twos. The important thing to know, if you're defending France, if you lose Calais, it becomes doubly hard, right? And particularly if you're just going 10 width. So we managed to get Calais, and that was meant that it was just a matter of time. We even built, we got the radar up as well. Now, eventually, we took out France and we encircled all his divisions here. I think he didn't have enough convoys to get them out, or he just misclicked because we killed like over 50 French divisions right here before he could escape France. We came down to for the Africa campaign, and we got through Alamein way too easily. So the mistake that the Commonwealth, the Allies made, they had a bunch of Commonwealth divisions here, and one British and one South African heavy tank division, I think. I had them here, but they also had a bunch of Commonwealth divisions here. Now, the Commonwealth divisions didn't have signal companies in them, so their reinforce rate was really low. And what ended up happening was we just attacked through a sandstorm. In a sandstorm, when the air superiority of the Allies is much reduced. So we attacked in a sandstorm, and we actually had to attack him a few times. We actually came in combat with, instead of fighting the tanks, we fought 2 Commonwealth infantry divisions. And because no one had signals, once we de-orged those 2 Commonwealth divisions, nothing reinforced, and so we just overran everything, so everything kind of retreated, right? So we took Alamein without ever having to fight the best Allied divisions. And then, because that happened so quickly, the tank divisions weren't low on org, so they couldn't counterattack. Normally, sometimes you can losing Alamein is not the end of the world for the Allies if you can counterattack, but that never happened this time. We flooded through. It was too easy. That should have been a lot harder for us because everything was late. The Allies had a really good opportunity to kind of stall us out in Alamein and really make us work for it. Really turn the game into a combat in the Eastern Med. But another thing that compounded it was we started convoy. We started casting down the shore fleet here, which was Spice's French fleet that was sitting here. We started casting it, and then because he didn't have it set to never repair, so when we engaged it with the Italian fleet, it just retreated to Alexandria, and that actually meant that we had the shore bombardment, and they didn't have the shore bombardment, and that just made it even easier for us to break Alamein. That should never have happened. The whole thing, it should be much harder for us to take this, but because we got a bunch of errors compounded for the Allies, and we just broke through really easily. For the Soviet Union, I'll give you a rundown of what happened there. Thankfully, Wells made this a lot easier by producing a whole heap of tank divisions. Me and Henry co-oping on Germany should have made this a lot easier than it was, actually, and it's a testament to HGH's skill at the game. He made it much harder for us. So we kind of made two attacks, one through East Prussia, one through Lwów. The one in Laval was much more successful than mine in East Prussia. Basically what happens, I like to attack in East Prussia, but you have to attack all 3 provinces. And I did. But I kind of got a bit too aggressive, right? I kind of got a little bit too aggressive coming out here to make a big encirclement, pushing up here to encircle a lot of Russians right about here. And what HCH did is he put all these planes into the Baltic states. You need to be prepared for this, right? The Soviet Union often will choose to contest only one area at a time, and that's where they'll make their counterattack. And he actually got green air for himself in Baltic states. It was red air for me, and that's when he kind of made a counterattack here. It was very dangerous for us at a point there. I almost lost all the tanks. Fortunately, because I was attacking at all 3 provinces, I relieved 4 tanks and only lost 1. I shouldn't have lost any tanks, but I lost 1. And then eventually I turned it around and managed to get an encirclement on him. But yeah, almost lost us the game right there. That should never have really happened. So I was too aggressive, and HCH was very good. So yeah, it's a kind of a risky play here. Fortunately, things went a little bit better in Laval, but eventually Romania got himself into trouble, got a bunch of divisions encircled. HCH was making counterattacks. He was making plays. Definitely. At a certain point, I broke through here and started making big encirclements. Henry and I were just making huge encirclements here and here. What happened then was we actually ran out of infantry to cover the line, which was an issue. And there was kind of, if you've ever played with me, you'll probably hear me. When we make encirclements, I'm always saying, push the front, push the front. So push the front, go, go, go. Don't bother with the encirclements, just like killing the encirclements, push the front to go. Henry kind of had a different idea, and instead of like, he wanted to like close pockets and kill encirclements. So that's kind of the, kind of the issue. We weren't both on the same page. So we kind of did neither. We didn't close pockets, or we didn't kill encirclements, and we didn't push the front, which left us in like a tough situation. HCH is not going to take this line down, and indeed he didn't. He counterattacked, and it was kind of in the balance for a little while there. And yeah, the Allies really, they had a sea line. Might have made this game difficult for it, much harder for us. But yeah, eventually I think Wells with these lots of tanks, we kind of it would have been actually easier if Romania. He was facing like an open front. He could have advanced at any point, but I think he's kind of inexperienced in the multiplayer. So yeah, we were asking a bit too much of him, I guess. Eventually we managed to pull it off. We closed the gaps, pushed the front. We got out to here, and it was kind of all over for HCH. Japan was kind of bad, I'm afraid. I'll show you why in a second. But somehow he took Malaya. He should never have been allowed to take Malaya. They should have been able to hold it. And then the Allies had to retake Malaya. I guess that's why there was no D-Day. They were too busy fighting here and here. That really should never have happened. We'll get onto more of that in a little bit, though. So yeah, it was a great game from HCH. Definitely terrific. Definitely shows me I still got a lot to learn. Me and Henry still have a lot to learn. But yeah, it was still a decent game. I think, honestly, to make this game easier, I should have more balanced. I should have hot joined onto Soviet Union. Soviet Union fighting against all of this. A co-op on Germany here. It's too rough. But yeah, everyone was kind of saying the Axis were finished, so I hot joined onto Germany instead. I'll show you my build. If you've played with me before, or if you've watched my other videos, it's pretty standard. 40 with tanks, anti-air. Pretty standard. I didn't take out the support artillery because I'm a noob, clearly. I just never noticed. I always normally remember to take that out. Standard infantry, German infantry, nothing special. Obviously, mobile warfare. Went concentrated this time. Yeah, pretty much everything is pretty standard. I'll show you the production. So at this point, 3 lines on CAS 2. Rest tanks pretty much. We kind of winning the air all the time, so I didn't feel the need to have to build too many fighters. We're kind of winning that. A lot of that is down to Isidore and Italy producing so many fighters early. Kind of felt like we always had the edge in the air. We kept these lines on. Stayed on medium tank 2s for ages. Kind of, it's a new way of thinking for us, at least. Other players do this all the time. Is where you kind of view Panthers, the medium tank 3s, are not. They're not good enough for how much more in resources they cost. So, and then you just, to counteract the lack of piercing, you just chuck a TD in there. But eventually I moved on to Panthers anyway. But yeah, I even kept these on Med 2s just because the efficiency was so high and I didn't want to change it. Yeah, pretty standard for us. I'll show you Soviet Union. So as you can see, he goes down mobile warfare, which is what I like to see. He actually went to medium 3s. This is the only kind of thing. A lot of Soviet players just build T-34s and just spam out lots of these. And I think after this game, we were discussing it with HCH, and he was like, yeah, I think he agrees that spamming out T-34s and then putting a tank destroyer in is probably better than building Lots of T-44, that's just because they're more expensive. So we'll see, 1, 2, 3, so 4 lines on fighters. You can maybe ask for a 5th line, but he went really hard on tanks. And I agree with this, honestly, in a fighter 2 meta. If the Allies do their job properly and kind of mill you over here, mill the Axis Air Force over here and here, by producing a whole lot of tanks, you can really, this many tanks and going a little bit lighter on fighters, you can really give yourself a chance. And that's what HCH did. He really gave himself the opportunity to beat us with his tank divisions. He kept himself in the game, right? So yeah, nothing really I can say negatively about HCH's build. I'll show you his tank divisions. There we go, yeah. Standard, 2 anti-air. I think the air attack is low. I think that might be a mistake. What did he upgrade? Did he upgrade it? He did. What did he upgrade? Engine, reliability, and armor. Yeah, I disagree with that. So not air attack. So he should have upgraded air attack in my opinion. And that would have made, given his tank divisions over 100 air attack, particularly because he went, what did he go? He went, he didn't do the thing with Chai do, which was get med 2 anti-air. He went medium 3 anti-air, so he went really hard on that. But and I think he upgraded the wrong. What did he upgrade on the tanks? Armor, reliable, no gun. Again, I think HCH, I discussed this with HCH before. He likes to try the idea of just trying to meme out the German player or meme out whoever he's playing by increasing the armor. It's kind of a risk, and I don't think it's worth it, right? If you can't pierce them, it becomes suddenly worth it. But I mean, I'm always going to upgrade my gun, right? So I'm going to be able to, pierce your tanks. And even when you upgrade your armor, you just lose out. You just make your tanks not so good. So that's probably the only thing I can say that HCH did wrong. Otherwise, yeah, he really played terrific, and his build is perfect. Let's have a look at England, UK. Yep. So right a number of planes. He built some tanks. I think he built tanks because South Africa was kind of weak, so he tried to hold Alamein with his own tanks. That's unfortunately he had to do that. Right amount of planes, and we can, let's have a look. Did you get the right? Yeah, so range, reliability, engine, that's fine. All good here. That's disappointing that in D-Day they kind of had the planes, kind of had everything here. Let's have a look at USA, what they were building. So planes, CAS, a little bit of CAS, I'd probably build more, some artillery for the Marines obviously. Not really that many Marines. Yeah, I don't know. Probably need some more Marines. Lots of heavy tanks, lots of planes, that's fine. Mechanized, okay, well, that's a terrible mistake. Look at all that wasted equipment. Should have gone on. So much mechanized, oh my god, that hurts. And lots of heavy tanks as well. It's a shame we never saw them, right? I mean, too much on mechanized, there's no need for that. Such a terrible waste of production. It's a real shame, right? You had all this production, but we never got to see it. There was no D-Day. That's a real shame. Could have been lend-leasing the tanks to UK as well. Let's have a look at what build Hani went. Yeah, so grand battle plan. This is fine. That's fine. Yeah, I got everything right. Yeah, it's just a shame there was no D-Day. I don't know. Yeah, it just couldn't happen. I'll show you Japan. So Japan was a very new player, I guess. I don't know. He didn't talk to us very much. But yeah, his division templates were appalling. This is appalling. He went deep battle as Japan. That's obviously terrible. Yeah, I don't know how the Allies lost British Malaya against this build. That should never have happened. I didn't think he even got carrier 3s. No, he didn't get carrier 3s, did he? No, he didn't. So USA should have easily won this naval war. Should have never lost Malaya. Should have been able to naval invade Japan and take him out of the war. It just never happened. Yeah, it's a real shame. Real shame. Eventually, Japan broke the rules and declared war on the Soviet Union, and we just kicked him. Yeah, I don't know what happened for the Allies in the Pacific Theater. There was a massive missed opportunity for them. They could have really made this game more competitive if they just cleaned up. I guess the Commonwealth were kind of weak. These guys were kind of newish to the game. Yeah, it's a real shame. All right, I'll show you Italy. So yeah, lots of planes. So this is great, and he upgraded them correctly, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's fine. That's great. So Isidore in Italy kind of went really hard on planes early, which meant his late game economy was weaker, right? So yeah, less civs and less mills in the late game, but because he went so hard on planes early, yeah, he terrific sacrifice doing this. So just producing the absolute bare minimum that he could get away with in terms of guns and artillery and support equipment. And yeah, building so many on planes early on just meant that the early game for us taking France was kind of beyond doubt, which was good. Now I'll show you France was played by Spice. I don't know if some of you have come across him before and played with him. So he went with the 10 width, right? But he went Grand Battle Plan, I suppose, for the entrenchment, but I disagree with this. I think if you're going 10 width, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't normally do 10 width. You should go Mass Assault, absolutely Mass Merb as well, because you want this thing here. So recovery rate 30%. So the idea, I guess, is for 10 width in my eyes, is you feel like you have in this important province or these provinces, you have 40 divisions, right? And as you're fighting, your divisions lose, and you know some of them deorg and break, and then like maybe 10 divisions come back here, and your divisions start breaking, and then they reorg so quickly because of the recovery rate that you can just send them straight back into the fight, and then you just hold the whole front line just because it's like a a cycle. You just keep cycling divisions out, you cycle them back and forth everywhere you want them, right? To do that effectively, I really think you've got to go Mass Merb, right? And then you can get Human Wave, which means you reduces the combat width, and then with Offensive Doctrine, I think you can fit an extra battalion or brigade or whatever, and you can still be 10 width. That's really that makes it even more effective. He also went so he went Mountaineers, and so he's got this one. This is what I would have made, just those ones. But he also had Mountaineers, and I wouldn't have done that. I would have just gone with infantry. And then he had signals in them as well. See, you don't need him with 10 width, I don't think yet. Again, trying to just abuse that reinforce rate, but I think if you'd just gone Mass Assault, he would have had an easier time with it. And then yeah, some of them had engineers. I think if you're going 10 width, just go all in, right? Just have hundreds of divisions, just hundreds and hundreds of 10 width divisions, right? And just go Mass Assault. And you also, at some point, I think he tried to, so even engineers and signal, I don't know. I honestly think this France building 20 or 40 with Mountaineers with anti-tank is better if you're going to hold them than this 10 width spam. But if you're going to do 10 width spam, I really do think Mass Merb is better than Grand Battle Plan. He had the chance to get to, he could have gotten to, what is it? He could have got Human Wave, I think, which is reduces that recovery, which is the important one, right? Infantry recovery rate. So I really think he could have made it harder for us. I guess once you lose the airfield in Calais, holding France becomes doubly difficult. But yeah, that's kind of the way it is. It was a good game. Thank you. Shout out to Wells. Massive shout out to Wells, who just built so many tank divisions as Spain, and then made the whole Russian fight a lot easier. Yeah. All right. Thanks for joining with me, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. Interesting game. HCH definitely showing us how to play Soviet Union as best as you can. It was a good game overall. I think obviously if I had my time again, I would hot join onto Soviet Union and co-op them. I think this game was more unbalanced towards the Axis. Had better players on the Axis overall than were on the Allies. But yeah, when I hot joined on, it looked like the Allies were going to win and the Axis were definitely going to lose. So yeah, it is what it is. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. I'm probably going to do a video on UK next, just on how to hold Alamein. A lot of people seem to think, a lot of the people in the community are constantly saying that like Alamein is impossible to hold. It's not impossible to hold. I do it all the time. I will show you how to hold it in a video soon, hopefully. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon and good luck out there.